Welcome back to the Motormouth YouTube channel. We're the Motormouth Bros. I'm Jack.
And I'm Charlie.
And today we're reviewing the Kia Sportage.
Or the Sportage, as the Americans like to say.
Yes.
This is the first SUV that we've been given to test drive. How do you like it so far, Jack?
I quite like it. I think it looks pretty luxurious inside. Obviously, Kia isn't considered like a luxury brand. It's not a BMW or a Porsche, but inside it's definitely looking really nice. I like the interior, nice leather accents everywhere, and I really like this faux wood here on the front dash, the trim. It's also here in the center console, and then we have some piano black as well, which gives it a nice like shiny touch to it.
For sure, yeah, I quite like it. I mean, it's something different for sure. The brown interior is something that I'm personally not a huge fan of, but I know a lot of people are, and I think it could definitely, I mean, it grabs your eye as soon as you enter the car.
Yeah. I don't mind the brown interior. I'm definitely more of a black interior guy.
Yeah,
I do think
here.
that sometimes brown interior can get a little bit dirty. It's not like that beige kind of one that some cars tend to have.
Especially, this is like a family car, right?
Yeah.
So if you're having the kids in the back and going on a road trip, whatever you're doing, just day-to-day driving, and they're eating or drinking and they spill something, I don't know how it would go with the brown interior. I'm not sure how it would clean, but maybe a safer bet with the black. I know in this color, the silver, you can get a black interior, and for a lot of the other colors, they only offer a black interior. So I think it was just the white and the silver and the black that offer the brown.
All right, Charlie, what's inside the car? What's in the engine?
It has a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine with a 8-speed automatic transmission. Coming from the car that we drove last week, which was the John Cooper Works, the Mini.
It's pretty much a race car, that one.
Yeah, this is nothing to compare to that, but it's nice. It's a casual car that you would drive day to day with your family, and I don't think you're looking for a race car. You know,
no, you're definitely not flying down the highway in this thing.
Absolutely not. You're just looking for a casual drive. You know, a day-to-day SUV, and this definitely does the trick.
So do you like the drive of the car? How does it feel when you're behind the steering wheel?
The drive is really easy. You know, sometimes I get into some of these press vehicles and it's a lot different from the car that I drive day to day.
Last week's one was definitely
for sure. It was different from what I typically drive. This feels pretty much the exact same, just bigger. As I said, easy drive. It's got great handling. It feels like a smooth drive so far, and it's great for day-to-day driving.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of what you want to have in an SUV, something that's easy to drive, and then something that can also go over those bumps in the road pretty easily. Obviously, when you're in a lower down car, like suspension and stuff like that is going to be a little bit bumpier, but so far this seems like a pretty smooth ride, and I have no complaints as we're just taking a drive down to the UBC highway here.
For sure, and we're about to hop on the highway, so you know what that means. We got to put it in sport mode, or
put it in S for subscribe. Remember to hit that bell.
All right, well, we're in sport mode now, and I really don't notice much of a difference. but you know,
it's an SUV. It's not a sports car at the end of the day.
No, it's not. It's not. As this guy flies.
This guy in his motorcycle.
Yeah, I mean, what do you really expect, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not what you're asking for, but you know, maybe if you need to overtake someone on the highway, throw it in sport mode, you can get to it. And one of the other modes here, it has My Drive mode, which I guess you can customize the driving and kind of make it to which settings you want, and
I think it said that you can change it for like different weather conditions. So maybe
there's also terrain mode here. Yeah, which I'm not too sure what that means.
We're about to go up to Grouse Mountain and do some off-roading.
Definitely not, but yeah, I mean, it really does feel like we're kind of transferring 15 years into the future here. Feels like I got maybe a family in the back and yeah, I mean, it's
not like last week in the Mini where we're flying down the highway. Now he's got a family of 3, and he lives in the suburbs.
Yeah, and I'm commuting to work right now. That's exactly what's happening.
So let's get into some key standard features in this vehicle. This car comes equipped with a 4-inch digital driver display and a 12.3-inch touchscreen, as well as wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. In my opinion, if the car doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay, what are you doing?
Yeah,
right?
it kind of feels like every car nowadays has it, and if you don't have it, then you got to catch
You're
up
living
with
in
the
the
times.
past, for
Yeah,
sure,
for
yeah.
sure. I mean, I think it's a mandatory thing nowadays, especially just with how far technology has come. It's not that difficult to throw it in the car.
I am definitely a big fan of the touchscreen here. Nice, wide, big touchscreen. Obviously, you have all of the stuff that you would want in a touchscreen, and with Apple CarPlay, it changes the game. Obviously, you get all the apps. Looks really nice, especially when you're on maps. It's very easy to read. You can pull up your music on Spotify.
Yeah,
super easy.
And now, one of the display features here, which I'm not the biggest fan of, is when you're switching between the weather and the volume, you have to press a button. You can't change the temperature of the car and the volume at the same time. You have to switch to a different mode.
There's a fan button here on the bottom, and then that'll switch it to the air conditioning mode.
Yeah.
And then you hit the other arrow up top, and it switches back to the volume control in the car, which I think you would get used to it over some time, but being in the car for not too long, it is a little bit, I wouldn't say confusing, but probably not our favorite feature to have in a car.
I mean, it's definitely not a big deal, and I don't think it would be a game-changing decision if you were to buy the car, but I personally don't see the big deal in just adding a small little volume button.
I completely agree.
Especially for me personally, I always use the volume button on the steering wheel, so why not just keep it, I don't know, why not just always have the weather mode there? I don't, something that I don't really understand, but not a huge deal at all.
Now on to the comfort of the vehicle. I think that the front seat is pretty spacious, pretty comfortable. I think that these seats are pretty great. I've definitely been in some cars where the front seat is not super comfortable, and then especially the back seat can be like really hard, like a park bench in the back. We found that the front and the back are both really comfortable, and then you get a ton of legroom in the back, as you would hope with an SUV, and then you also get your typical front seat legroom, which are really no complaints there.
For sure, and I mean, if you're buying an SUV, I think one of the main things that you must have is comfort.
Yeah.
If you're buying an SUV and it's not comfortable, then really what is the, I don't know, what's the benefit? You can go so many other options, right? I mean, for us as kids, sitting in the back seat is really important to us. I sat back there earlier, and you know, it was comfortable. I fit. And if you
that seems to be your issue, fitting in the back seat of some of these cars.
Yeah, it's not great for me. But yeah, it was a quick sit. I wouldn't mind sitting back there for a couple hours. And now, Jack, tell us a bit about the pricing of this vehicle.
So the lowest price model in Canada is the LX FWD, and that's going to be 34,827 Canadian dollars. And the top line, which I believe is the one we're in, is the X Line Limited, and that's going to be $48,077. Both those are in Canadian. And then when it comes to the American pricing, it's the same low model, it's the same name, it's going to be $28,690 US dollars. And then the top model has a different name called the X Pro Prestige AWD, all-wheel drive, and that's going to be $39,590 American dollars.
A lot of numbers there.
A lot of numbers. Lock in, guys. You need to get that in your brain.
Yeah.
Now let's get into a little bit of the fuel economy. It's 9.9 liters per 100 kilometers city and 7.8 liters per 100 kilometers highway.
And it's 25 miles per gallon in the city and 33 miles per gallon on the highway. To be honest, I don't really
We don't know what any of that means,
yeah,
but it seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Good fuel economy, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna.
We need to brush up on that a little bit, but guys, we'll get there. I promise. I promise we'll get there.
Working on it. All right, Jack. How do you feel about the exterior of this car?
I think the exterior is really nice. I honestly think it kind of gives like Jeep vibes with that front grille. I think the headlights are super cool as well. Overall, I think it's a pretty sporty looking SUV, and overall, I'm a pretty big fan of it. What do you think?
Yeah, same here. I mean, it's just a classic looking SUV. It's kind of all you would ask for.
And I like the gray color we have on this a lot as well. I find when you go for like a black, a white, or a silver, it's kind of basic and you kind of get tired of it. But I think this gray is a bit of a switch up. It's not your typical gray. It's a little bit darker, and I'm a pretty big fan of that. I think it looks pretty nice.
Ice cream truck.
Ice cream truck.
Go get some ice cream.
Oh, I could go for some ice cream. All right, Charlie, 2 things you like, 2 things you like to see improved.
One thing that I love about this car is how spacious it is. I always say to my parents I love an SUV purely just because of the room that it offers. I'm a bit of a taller guy. I got a long torso, just like my father.
Takes after his father.
So I mean, it's definitely nice driving an SUV compared to what I typically drive, which is just a normal car. And one thing I don't love about the car, but I'm not sure if you'd be able to turn it off or not. It has a digital display on the windshield. It just kind of tells you your kilometers or your mileage. I just think it's a bit distracting when you're driving. I've never really driven a car that has that there. It's something that I'd probably get used to, but I think if I was driving all the time, I would kind of get annoyed by it. But I know some people like it. It also keeps you in check, you know, like you always see how fast you're going, and it helps make sure that you never speed.
Something I would like to see improved is the thing we already mentioned, which is the control center here, having to switch to the air conditioning mode and then back to the home center where you can change the volume. I just don't really find it that necessary, and I think it would be better to just have a volume knob that you can automatically change. I also noticed that once you hit the air conditioning, after about 5 or 10 seconds, it goes back to the original volume display. I think just keep the air conditioning up and then change it to a volume knob. I just don't really think it's necessary.
Some people wouldn't mind that though. Some people would like that there's less clutter in the car. And personally for us, something that...
Yeah, just because we're not fans of it doesn't mean that everyone isn't going to be a fan of it. It could definitely be for some people, but I just don't think it's too much for us. And then my one thing that I really like about the car is the interior. It seems very luxurious. Lots of leather on the inside, as well as this brown interior, which we already mentioned we quite like a lot. The steering wheel has some nice contrast stitching on it as well, on the bottom and the top, to the brown interior with the black stitching. Overall, super nice interior, and as Charlie said already, very comfortable, but I definitely like the inside of this car a lot.
And that will be all from us today as the Motormouth Bros, our 3rd review on the channel, and our first SUV that we've reviewed. This is our review on the Kia Sportage.
Or the Sportage, as our American viewers would like to call it. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and click that bell, and we will catch you in the next one.